Time travel. I mean, we've all dreamt about it, right? Seen it in the movies, but could it actually be real? Well, today we're going to dive deep into that question, and we're going to kick things off with a story so wild it actually got the FBI involved.
Okay, check out this number, $350 million. Back in 2003, one guy supposedly made this much playing the stock market. I mean, that's an insane amount of money, right? But the crazy part isn't even the number itself, it's how he did it. Get this. He started with just $800, and in only 2 weeks, he turned that into $350 million. Now, of course, the authorities immediately thought, okay, this has to be insider trading, no question. But when the FBI finally arrested the guy, a man named Andrew Carlson, his explanation was, let's just say, from another time. Yeah, so Carlson claimed his incredible success wasn't because he had illegal tips or anything like that. Nope. He said it was because he was a time traveler from the year 2253. He told them he just knew which stocks would take off because, well, for him, it had already happened. It was just history. All right, so this whole crazy story really makes you wonder, doesn't it? When we talk about time travel, where exactly do we draw the line between what's real and what's just pure science fiction?
So let's really get into it. Is this idea of hopping through time, forward or backward, is there any actual science behind it, or is it all just a fantasy? The answer, as you might guess, is yeah, it's kind of complicated.
You see, the first thing you got to understand is that scientists look at time travel in two totally different ways. Traveling into the future, believe it or not, that's actually based on some real physics. But going back to the past, oh, that's a whole other story. It's like a minefield of paradoxes that could literally break your brain.
Okay, so let's tackle the easier one first. Let's talk about taking a one-way trip into the future. In the movies, we see all kinds of time travel, right? You've got the instantaneous zap, like in Back to the Future, or maybe you just stand still while time rushes past you, like in Harry Potter. But it's the kind of time travel we see in a movie like Interstellar that's actually surprisingly rooted in real science. So the real-world concept behind this is something called time dilation. It's a huge part of Einstein's theory of relativity. And what it basically says is, the faster you move through space, the slower you move through time. So imagine you're on a spaceship, just rocketing along close to the speed of light. Decades, even centuries, could fly by back on Earth. But for you, it might only feel like a few hours. You would have, for all intents and purposes, traveled into the future.
All right, so zipping into the future seems possible, at least on paper. But what about going the other way? What about traveling into the past? This is where things get super messy. And it's all because of a famous brain twister called the grandfather paradox. Let me walk you through it. It's pretty simple, but trippy. Okay, step 1. You build a time machine and go back in time. Step 2. You find your grandparents before they ever meet, and you stop them from getting together. Now for step 3. If they never meet, well then you're never born, which means you couldn't have gone back in time in the first place, right? It's a complete contradiction. It just shatters the whole idea of cause and effect. Now, you might be thinking, what about wormholes? And yeah, some scientists have theorized that wormholes, these theoretical tunnels through space-time, could be a potential gateway to the past. But this is deep into speculative territory. For a wormhole to even work for time travel, you'd need to prop it open with something called exotic matter, and that's stuff with negative mass, which, we've never actually found or seen. So it's a big if. So, after all that, what's the bottom line? What can we actually do when it comes to time travel, according to the science? Let's just break it down nice and simple. Traveling to the future, it's theoretically possible, thanks to time dilation. The biggest problem is just building a machine that can go fast enough. It's an engineering problem. But traveling to the past, that's a whole different beast. The main hurdle there isn't just technology. It's that it seems to violate the very laws of reality, cause and effect itself. Okay, so let's circle all the way back to our guy, the stock market genius Andrew Carlson. So what's the real story there? Well, the truth is, the whole thing was a hoax. It was a satirical article from a comedy website that just went completely viral. But the story was so good, so believable, that actual news outlets started reporting it as if it were true. And I think that just goes to show how badly we all want to believe this stuff is real. But this whole thing leaves us with one last kind of mind-bending thought to chew on. We've established that traveling to the future is, scientifically speaking, plausible. So one day, humans might actually figure it out. And if they can travel to their future, what's to stop them from setting the dial to our present? So that's the big question I'll leave you with. If time travel is ever invented, have the time tourists already paid us a visit?